All right, the time is 7 p.m. We'll go ahead and call this meeting order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call, please.
Trustee
Here.
Delapenna.
Here.
Trustee Domke.
Here.
Trustee Forsythe.
Here.
Sunisa. Trustee Trejo.
Here.
Trustee Prokowski.
All right, we have a quorum. We'll move on to presentation of the prepared agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. We'll continue on to village board public comment. Anyone wish to provide a comment on a topic or an agenda item may address the village board in person during the public comment and public hearing segments of the village board agenda. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address the board at this time? Record show none. We'll continue on to officials and staff reports. I know I've got a number of things to get to from a business perspective. I just want to thank everyone for coming out to Winterfest this last weekend. So it's certainly the weather brought winter to us, and we made the best out of it. And I think everyone had a fun time. And huge thanks goes out to Liz, Brian, and our entire public works crew for helping plan and put it all together for us. I think everyone had a very enjoyable evening. And each year, like anything we do, it gets bigger and better. So look forward to what new nonsense we can cook up for next year. So, and this also being our final meeting of the year, just would like to appreciate everyone's support and participation in our meetings and whatnot. I think the village had a fantastic year, and we're excited to see you all again in 2026. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to enter a public hearing to hear the fiscal year ending in December 31st, 2026 proposed budget. Is there a motion to enter a public hearing?
We'll move.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Could we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe.
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye. Aye.
And public notice was made and served, and we'll turn it over to our finance director, Tom Dahl, to give opening remarks on the budget.
Okay, tonight is the culmination of 6 months of preparation of the FY 2026 budget. Staff began this journey in June with the kickoff of the budget process, and it continues tonight with the public hearing and an approval of the budget. I'd just like to thank all of the staff that was involved in the process and the village board for getting us to this day. So again, the notice was published in the Daily Herald on November 26, 2025 for this public hearing. And for the general fund, the total revenues are estimated at about 24.7 million. This is an increase of about 1.3 million from the fiscal year 2025 projected year end. Increases in property taxes, sales tax, and income tax, and an increase in the amusement tax from 3% to 5%, and then an expansion of the definition to include digital amusements and streaming services account for most of that increase. Total expenditures are estimated at about 24.9 million, which is an increase of 1.6 million from fiscal year 2025 projected. And increases in salaries, pensions, health insurance, contractual services, and commodities are the major reasons. And expenditures exceed revenues by 250,000. We utilize available reserve fund balance in lieu of additional property taxes, leaving the anticipated reserve level at the end of 2026 at 43%, or a little over 5 months, 10,587,000. The village board was provided, go back one. The village board was provided with alternate options in lieu of raising property tax, but that included, increasing property tax or other taxes or reducing the expenditures. But as a whole, the board agreed that this year is a maintenance budget, meaning that we're maintaining our core services and our services from last year at the current level, and then using that upcoming year to really review the village's fees and taxes. Water sewer operating fund, total revenues are estimated at 9.6 million. 98% of the revenue comes from the water and sewer sales, so what we actually sell, which was based on the 2026 rates that are up on the board and a 1% increase in water usage from the 2025 estimate. We'll get now a full year of the Metro 19 building, which I believe will be, if not at the top, the second highest user of water in the village, Zips being the highest because of obviously they're a large car wash. Rates increased $1 per thousand for water, 26 cents per thousand for sewer in DuPage County, and 14 cents in Cook County. Total expenses are projected to be 9.8 million. Water, obviously purchased from the DuPage Water Commission, and then personnel costs are the two largest expenses, which is about 68%, 69% of the budget. In the budget, we anticipate 29 cent per thousand gallons, rate increase from DuPage Water Commission starting May 1st, 2026. We won't know that until we get further into the year. Expenses exceed revenues by 217,000, and we try to develop rates that will cover budgeted expenses. But this year, they're a little bit off by 217,000 on a budget basis, which is just a plan. More than likely, it'll come in better than that. Fund balance is expected to be a little over 2.2 million at December 31st, which is just below the minimum of 25%. Water sewer capital projects fund. Revenue sources for this fund are the CIS, the capital improvement surcharge, home rule sales tax, the IEPA loan proceeds. So we're borrowing to do all the projects that you see below underneath the revenue sources. And then there's minor revenues that come in as well. The CIS fee will increase $1.25 per thousand gallons. And in the 2026 plan, some large projects, the Boterman and plant improvements will really get into full swing, 9.4 million. And then the Devlin plant improvements, which right now are just engineering of 1.5 million as we await our slot in the IEPA loan process for 2026. And then we also have over $6 million in collection system improvements, which is the lift stations and some other work. And most notably the project, the Triangle Project, we're calling it, which is a combination of water main, sewer main, and road improvements there. Parking lot operating fund, a smaller fund, but still I think important. Expenditures exceed revenues by about 53,000. And really that's a one-time transfer of $187,000 to the general fund that we budgeted. This was money that we had transferred after the pandemic started to keep that fund afloat. We're using some of the money we received from Friendly Ford transfer of property to pay that back. The village purchased the Metro 19 parking garage in November. And we'll begin receiving full lease payments in 2026, and we will begin maintaining that garage. So some of those funds will be used for future maintenance work in the garage. And ridership still remains below the 2019 levels, and it's expected to stay that way. But we have seen daily parking surpass the pandemic, but of course permit sales are significantly lower. People are just not committing to 5 days a week going downtown, so it's easier to do the daily fee. And then finally, the CIP program, which was introduced in October and is included and will be included in the final budget. You can see the revenue sources here. They're quite diverse. Home rule sales tax, utility tax, gasoline tax, some grants, and then TIF funds. And I'm not going to go through all of the projects that are here, but most notably, it's the $2 million for the street improvement program. And then some other work, stormwater improvements and pedestrian bridge, pedestrian improvements throughout town. And then continuing our normal programs of the sidewalk, the streetlight, parking lot improvements, et cetera. And that's all the remarks I had for the public hearing. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, are there any are there any members of the public that wish to speak in favor of the petition or the budget, I suppose, in this case? Record show none. Is there any members of the public that wish to speak against the budget? Are there any members of the public that wish to ask a question regarding the budget? Seeing none, I just would like to reiterate that I think this is a maintenance budget. And so while we do account for some revenue increases, most of that is not attributed to rate increases. It's mostly being driven by just projected increases minus the annual recapture of inflation rate through property taxes. And then the water rates are going up, and then the introduction of the expansion of the amusement tax. But other than that, all other fees are remaining flat, which I think is something that the board should be proud of as well. So with that being the case, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
And that.
We have a roll call, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. I'd like to entertain a motion to pass an ordinance approving and adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Your second? Could we have a roll call, please? Or sorry, is there any discussion on this, I should say? Seeing none, could we have the roll call then?
Aye.
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 And that motion carries. We'll continue on. I'd like to I'd like to entertain a motion to enter a public hearing for the 2025 proposed tax levy. There a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Proper notice was served in the papers, and I will turn it over to our finance director again to discuss the tax levy.
Good evening again. This is the 2025 tax levy. And I'm going to first start with talking about the 2024 tax levy. Just the EAV was, I'll start with this. The 2025 Truth and Taxation Notice was published in the Daily Herald on November 26, 2025. Okay, so the 2024 EAV was just under $1 billion, 997 million, which increased 7.8% from 2023. DuPage County increased 9.1% and Cook County decreased by 0.2%. We see that from time to time they redo the assessments, and then after every year it kind of goes down after that, mainly due to appeals in Cook County. The tax cap for 2025 is 2.9%. And the village continues to honor the spirit of PTEL. It's based on the final 2024 extensions plus new growth. Yeah, I'm hearing that. Yeah. And the levy to be approved is based on $3 million of new growth. And the levy that's being proposed for a home with a market value of about $365,000, it may, and this is a broad example, may increase by $16. If you're in DuPage versus Cook, that can be different, or even in one section of DuPage County versus the other, it may be different. It could depend on your deductions. The levy is for truth and taxation purposes, an increase of 7%. But overall, the levy was only increased by 2.02%. Here, you can't see this very well, but I like to throw this up there. This is the history of from 2019 till 2025, showing not only the EAV, but the levy each year. And you can see it's gone up. And I have the estimated rates in there as well. It shows right now a slight decrease in the calculated rate, but that is subject to change based on all the numbers that we get from the counties later in 2026. And again, this is another one. This is the EAV by category. I provided this to the board when we received the EAVs, basically showing that In DuPage County, about 81% of our EAV comes from residential. So we are a very heavily residential community, with a little bit coming in commercial, a little bit more in industrial. And then the increase below that shows the percent increase each year in those various categories. And then the next one is just a graph showing that same thing you can see. I mean, that's a very visual display showing most of this comes from residential. On the Cook side, it's a little bit more. It's 85% is residential with a little bit of commercial and then very little in industrial. And again, on the graph, you can see that same trend. And you can see this is where Cook County differs from DuPage. In DuPage, you saw a steady increase every year. In Cook, you see this increase and then a decrease and then an increase and then a decrease. That pattern, if I extended it out for 20 years, you would see that a little bit better. Our favorite graphical example of a dollar showing that about 9.8% of the tax levy comes from the village of Roselle. The remaining comes from the school districts, but also the library and county, park district and community college. And then one more $100 bill to show you. For every $100 that the village of Roselle collects, it's just distributed based on what you see, pensions being about 50%, police, fire, 15%, and then a corporate or just general fund and EMS, rounding that out. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Let the record show none. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak in favor of the property tax levy for 2025? Or 2026, I should rather say.
Well,
2025, you're right, sorry.
payable in 2026.
20, yeah. Details. These matter, as the attorney would say. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak against the 2025 property tax levy? Seeing none, is there any member of the public that wishes to address a question regarding the 2025 property tax levy? Record show none. Is there a motion to close the public hearing? Is there a second? Can we have a roll call, please? Aye.
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 All right, and that motion passes. I'd like to entertain the board to pass an ordinance to authorize the levy and collection of taxes for the general corporate purposes of fire protection, police protection, Illinois municipal retirement, ambulance services, debt service, police pension, and firefighters pension for the fiscal year commencing on January 1st, 2026 and ending on December 31st, 2026 for the Village of Roselle, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? See none, can we have the roll?
Trustee Domke?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna?
Aye.
Forsythe?
Aye.
That motion carries. And that concludes my report tonight. So any trustees have a report tonight? All right, seeing none, then we'll move on. Village clerk, village attorney,
No report.
village administrator. We'll continue on to unfinished business. We next have the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, or non-controversial in nature and be enacted in one motion. There'll be no discussion of these items unless removed from the consent agenda. Are there any items you removed from the consent agenda at this time? Seeing none, tonight we have then presentation approval of the village board minutes of November 3rd, 2025 and November 10th, 2025. Adopt a resolution approving amendments to the Village of Roselle Personnel Policy Manual. Pass an ordinance establishing salaries and/or compensation for Village of Roselle employees and officers. Adopt a resolution adopting the operational plan for tenant and Metro parking at Lawrence Avenue parking garage. Pass an ordinance amending the liquor code for the number of Class D liquor licenses from 3 to 4 for the Roselle Grand Mart Incorporated, 1330 West Lake Street. Pass an ordinance amending Chapter 22, Article 1, Section 22-22 and Section 22-143 of the Code of Ordinance of the Village of Roselle, Illinois. Pass an ordinance amending Chapter 20, Article 8, Section 20-108, Section 20-109, and Section 20-113 of the Code of Ordinance of the Village of Roselle, Illinois. That is all. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? Can we have the roll call, please? Aye.
Trustee Domke?
Aye.
Trustee Forsythe?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. We'll continue on to development engineering services. Trustee Forsythe.
Thank you, Mayor Pulaski. I would like to move to pass an ordinance granting a zoning map amendment, special uses and variations for the property commonly known as 233 East Maple Avenue, Roselle, Illinois.
Second.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion of this item? All right, seeing none, if we could have a roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Next, I would like to move to adopt a resolution approving a plat of easement for 233 East Maple Avenue, Roselle, Illinois.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Laneza.
Aye.
Trustee Del-
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And lastly, I would like to move to pass an ordinance authorizing a redevelopment agreement for the Dunkin' Donuts development comprising a part of the Roselle Road Nergitiff District of Roselle, Illinois.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
Aye. Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
That motion carries.
That's all for me.
Thank you so much. We have nothing under administration, fire, police, or public works at finance. Trustee Lanisa.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to approve the accounts payable list for November 25th, 2025 in the amount of $14,557,119.67.
Second.
Your second. It has to be our largest bills list in it for a while. And just for the public's notice, you're not eyeballing like, why the hell is that 14.5 million? That is the purchase of the parking garage at the metro station. So we've been holding on to that money and making some good interest off that. So unfortunately, we need to return it to its rightful owners for now. So, but I don't know, this is probably the largest bills list we've had. So any discussion?
Probably right.
All right, seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
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 That motion carries.
Good. Next, I would like to make a motion to approve the accounts payable list for December 8th, 2025 in the amount of $1,488,992.05.
Second.
A little bit more normal. Any questions or discussion on this one? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Trustee Trejo.
Aye.
Trustee Delapenna.
Aye.
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 All right, and that motion carries. We have no new business tonight. There's a second opportunity for village board public comment. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address the board at this time? Record show none. Is there any other business for discussion only from the board? All right, in that case, I'd like to entertain a motion to convene executive session for the purpose to discuss collective bargaining. No final action will be taken from the executive session. We will be adjourning from executive session. Is moved. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Domke.
Aye.
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 That motion carries. Thank you so much.